It is 7 p.m. on July 2nd, 2019, and we're going to open the Committee of Committees meeting. To do roll call, please.
Committee members, Chris Samples.
Here.
John Talbot.
Here.
William Luxinger is absent. Gina Simpson.
Here.
Jen Christensen.
Here.
Jared Doan.
Here.
President Rick Worm.
Here.
Treasurer Brenda Onabini. Here. I'm here as Clerk Sandy Moss. Do not have an attorney. Engineer Matt Hansen. Here. Public Works Supervisor Brett Fergie.
Here.
And Parks Supervisor Kenny Leamer.
Here.
So it's my understanding William brought up a, you can't go yet, of business looking for a possible grant, and they're here tonight to tell us.
Yeah, Matt will have to get you the mic.
Yeah, he's got to share.
If it's easier, you can always put the mic in the...
Okay.
You can sit too, we're not
Whichever
that
you
formal.
want.
I just have some handouts, here, just to kind of get an idea of what I do.
We can pass them around. We're good at this.
My name is Judith Walter. I'm the owner and operator of Alchemy Equestrian here in Davis Junction. I'm here for your consideration in the business grants that you offer in Davis Junction. I've been teaching horseback riding lessons for about 20 years, and I've been certified with American Riding Instructors Association for close to 15 years now. I started Alchemy Equestrian in 2015. I was closer to the Rockford area and the State Line area at the time. Before that, I helped develop programs for 3 different barns from the ground up. We started with just 1 rider, 1 horse, and worked our way up to close to 10 horses and 40 to 50 riders per week. I decided to move on my own in 2015 and just work for myself. I started with just 1 horse, a few riders, and now I have 5 horses, truck and trailer, all the equipment, and last year we decided to buy our own property. We purchased the property here in Davis Junction on Junction Road. The property at the time was as is and was sitting for about 5 years, completely not ready for horses or anything. So we worked really hard to clear the property and get it ready for the horses, and have started to teach lessons there. I offer a weekly lesson program, riders ages 6 and up, anywhere from beginner level riders to riders that are in competition. Even adults, about half my clientele is adults right now. I offer lessons in horsemanship, training, and dressage and jumping. I also have seasonal camps where kids can come from the ages of 6 to 14. They come for 3 days in a row from 9 to 1:30, and these are summer usually camps, where we, just like a summer camp, we have games and activities and stuff like that. I also offer a show team for my riders. I have many riders that just ride for pleasure, but the show team is one of my passions. Dressage, jumping, I've had many riders go on to winning championships, including Illinois Dressage and Combined Training Association. And we are starting the Interscholastic Equestrian Association program this year, which gives opportunity to middle schooler and high school students to compete on a national platform where they can win scholarships. And the nice thing about this is they don't actually have to own their own horses. When we travel, they use horses from other barns. And with my program also, when they show, they don't actually have to own their own horse. They can show on my horses, which is a huge opportunity for a lot of riders because owning horses is super expensive. So I'm able to offer this to riders in my program. And in addition to that, I also have a 4-H program. I have 1 rider this year just because we've only been in this area for about a year. That's going to be showing at the Ogle County Fair, but I hope to have many 4-H students joining the 4-H clubs in the area and using my horses towards their goals in that type of competition. And the last thing I offer is training and sales. I have some sale horses on my property, but I also help clients find horses, purchase horses, and train them. And my specialty is working with off-track thoroughbreds, where we take the retired horses and repurpose them for dressage and jumping. And I hope to find them homes sometimes, and sometimes we'll take horses that are injured or you know, a lot of times they end up in slaughter, so I try to find them good homes. I work with Galloping Out in Chicago. It's a not-for-profit rescue. And I also am one of the about 600 trainers in the country that goes to the Retired Racehorse Project every year with one horse to compete. That's basically what I offer as far as my program. I watched a little bit of the recording from the last meeting, and I have some answers to your questions. I can offer Davis Junction Village residents $15 off the price of lessons. My normal fee is $40 per lesson. Some of the things that we're trying to develop on the property are, the biggest problem is where we're riding is just topsoil and grass. So I've lost about 75% of my income this year so far just because it constantly rains. And once it rains, I'm out for about 3 days until the ground dries. So having a safe area to ride and to train is one of the biggest issues that I'm looking at right now. And to do the arena footing and the paddock footing would be around $10,000. And from there, I just kind of have like just an idea of some of the things that we have to do to develop this property. However, I'm not asking for this total amount, but something to kind of help, you know, towards our goals. So, any questions?
With you teaching like riders with kids, have you ever worked with like disabled or done anything with them for like therapy?
I have. I'm not certified with any type of therapy program, and I feel like with some disabilities you need to have a certification. However, I have had students with Asperger's, Down syndrome, that I've worked with. I don't have the liability insurance to have the wheelchair access and that sort of thing.
I'm just looking at like
Yeah.
kids that have those things.
Yeah,
sometimes
I have
help
worked with.
calm them.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that, especially with children with Asperger's and autism, working with horses is really beneficial. So I do offer that. But I do let parents know that I'm not a therapist type instructor. I'm more of competition and pleasure. So just so they know they're not getting the therapy part, but more of just the horse instruction.
Okay.
Can I almost rose my hand, sorry. I was
Teacher by trade.
sorry. Habit. How, like, as you're growing your business and whatnot, how are you getting the word out there about your business?
Right now, and over the years, I've found a lot of luck with Facebook, Facebook posts and my page. Working in the state line for about 15 years in the Caledonia area, I got a lot of my news business from just word of mouth. So down here, people don't really know of me yet. And I feel like in this industry, you kind of need to have a good reputation. So until I get to that point, I'm doing flyers, Facebook, and I hope that going to the fairs will definitely help.
Do you have a website yet?
I don't have a website yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have the Facebook page. No, I do plan on getting that eventually.
Well, I guess I can ask the question in William's absence. One of William's concerns is we secure our business agreement with something. The last one we did, we were able to secure the agreement with equipment so that if for some reason you don't make it through the length of time of the business cycle, that we were able to recoup some of our costs.
Okay.
And William's concern was in this type of industry, what would be the collateral? We only hold it in case you go out of business or somebody goes out of business before the grant is completed.
Okay. I obviously, just because it's material and trucking is the biggest expense, and labor, there really isn't anything to recoup from that. However, I do have a trailer that I can put up as collateral. It's worth about $7,000. I have equipment too. I mean, I don't think I'd put up my horses as collateral.
So we can always use a few extra horses.
I don't know that we need the horse.
No, it's
I mean, that would be
I think
irresponsible, but.
Last time I think we did some security cameras or something of a dollar amount equal to the business grant, just in case.
Sure. I mean, the one thing I've mentioned on here is the shelter. That thing is something that can be picked up and moved and actually sold, just because it's the actual structure that they bring in on the truck. That and the horse trailer, I guess, would be two things. other than that, there's nothing really tangible
Yeah.
that I,
And
you know.
that was his concern, was
Yeah.
like, we can't exactly
Yeah.
ground.
Right, you can't take
So-
ground. Yeah, but I mean, I don't foresee going out of business. I think that if I went out of business, I would have
Yeah.
gone out of business already just
We
because I've
don't
been
foresee
struggling.
it for anybody, but,
Yeah.
the village has to.
Absolutely.
It has to be a give and a take,
Yep.
and,
Yep.
the last business that we did this with, it was super awesome, it's worked out well, so.
Yeah.
What did we budget this year for that?
25,000. What are you looking for?
I'd be really happy with around 10 to 12,000. I think that would make a big dent in what we need to do just to get, like really right now it's just because we're riding on the dirt. I mean, it's safe, but there is liability with the horses kind of tripping. So having a really solid base that drains, where like if it rains an inch in the morning, I can still teach my lessons at night. And then from there, you know, I can add on to these other things on my list because I'm bringing that income in. So that's just the biggest thing right now that I'm looking for.
Have you started some of this work, or is it?
We
this is
have.
okay.
Yeah, so the picture there shows when we bought the property last August, we closed August 19th. And it was as is, even the house is in pretty bad shape. But, the property had just been completely let go by the previous owner, and it was all overgrown. We removed fencing, we removed a lot of small shelters and barns, a lot of work just to get our horses in. And we just got to the point where it just became more of a financial issue, where we did a lot of the work that we could without, you know, the investment,
Okay,
so.
thank you. Are the people that you, like, are the kids and adults that are your clientele right now, are they from the community, or are they from further out, or just curious?
I have a lot of clientele from when I was in Caledonia. I travel to Janesville, I have a farm in Chena that I go to, Stillman. So I kind of have people all over. But since I've been here for about a year and a half, I've been going to a lot of the school functions, the fun fairs and things like that to promote. And I do have quite a few kids in Stillman. I think I have more from Byron right now, because we did a lot of like I did a FFA show there. But with the camps and stuff, we're gonna keep getting more. I have a lot of inquiries, but the problem is just because it's been so on and off with rain lately, I've had to cancel a lot of lessons. I do haul my
That's what I'm
horses
saying.
twice a week to a farm in Stillman. That so on Wednesdays and Sundays I can guarantee those lessons. But if it rains like on Monday, I have to cancel my afternoon lessons. But yeah, we do have quite a few so
All right.
far.
That's awesome.
I don't have any other questions.
All right, we can come up with a direction tonight if we choose, that we could send to Dan and them, if you'd like to discuss it further.
I'm comfortable with moving forward. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm, the idea of like, and I know you said 10 to 12, the idea of like, since the total project cost is like 19,900 or 20,000, I'd be comfortable with like going in 10,000. I mean, just the idea of doing half.
My thought on it was that if we could contribute to the base rock and ag line, the 8,000, and the shelter, the 3,000, which if, with the trailer, be somewhat recoupable in case they did go out of business, with those two items.
So you're saying
That'd be 11,000. But at least we'd be
I'm
able
not
to
opposed to that. I'm not
protect
opposed.
some of our investment.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
I hate to talk that way, I'm sorry, but.
That's okay. Just to be clear, the shelter, I did budget $500 for shipping. It's actually evaluated at about $2,500, the one that I priced.
Well, again, it would be close. It was just
Yeah,
like you
it'd
said,
be
the trailer's
close
not
to-
worth what the rock is,
yeah.
so.
Well, we should ask her what she would like to have.
Well, I did.
I mean,
We
You
did,
said 10 to 12,000.
yeah.
No, I think he's talking the specifics on
yeah,
the
what,
items,
yeah, the
as opposed
items.
to the dollar
What would
amount.
you like to see?
If there's certain things other than us saying, hey, we'll do the ag, we'll do this, we'll do that,
I think when the
That's
business
like-
grant comes out, it'll just be a dollar amount.
that's what I'm
Yeah, it
thinking.
won't
They do
be,
whatever they want.
yeah.
But that is your main concern is.
Is the ag line.
Right.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep,
shouldn't
just
be.
to get that started, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
11,
I think, yeah, that's fine with me.
to the right,
Me too.
I'm good.
I'm not-
all right,
I think it's exciting.
contact lawyers.
my business card is hidden away. Is your contact information on here? It is.
It is.
All right, I will be in touch with you then if you choose not to hang out for the rest of the meeting.
All right, I do
Yeah.
appreciate
I
it.
forgot
Thanks
we
for your
moved the
time.
business cards
Good luck.
behind the glass.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, we'll probably be talking again before that happens.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
we
probably have you
will,
down here
but I'll
again.
have to get some more detailed
Yeah.
information from you.
And then we'll have to go through the whole point of doing the resolution and
Yep.
getting it all passed
Yeah.
Okay.
officially, so.
All right.
This is just
I'm looking
direction.
forward to you.
Yep, with it being a
Getting it-
holiday week, it'll probably be early next week. before I
Absolutely.
get in touch with you.
Okay. All right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So may I make a motion to approve the June 4th, 2019 committee of the committee meeting minutes?
Second.
Just did.
All right.
So Dina makes a motion to approve the June 4th, 2019 committee meeting minutes. John seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 7-16. Discussion on recreational marijuana. We are gonna have to do something with this, highly recommended by the attorneys. Dan probably covered a lot of it last week.
David.
David did,
Yeah, we had
okay.
David last week.
That was one of the, I thought Dan was gonna be here last week.
No, it ended up being David.
And I'll have to apologize because I wasn't here last week, so.
Neither was I.
Oh.
Well, then, I'm happy to summarize.
Thank you.
So, recreational
That does mean
marijuana.
short version.
Yes.
Okay.
Recreational marijuana is now,
Talk about it for a
will be
second.
allowable after January
wrong.
1st. So we have to make some decisions. I kind of need direction from you guys so I can work with Dan and David to get
Okay.
things started. So the first decision you have to make is you have the ability to opt out of recreational marijuana sales, which means that you don't allow it within your municipality. So step one is anybody interested in opting out?
So I'm gonna be very honest. So, I don't
Go.
care what anybody does with their personal life. And,
Yeah.
I'm torn here, and this is where I always struggle with I know which hat I'm wearing when I'm here.
Yeah.
But I also know as what I teach it totally conflicts what I teach.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling with that to say, like, I don't care what people do with,
So here's
so help me out with this a little
I
bit.
struggle with it from the point of, you're starting to see the repercussions that are happening in Colorado.
It's
You're starting to
making-
see the
yeah.
increase in car accidents, you're starting to see the increased health results, the people going to emergency rooms, the people that are, starting to come into tar and marijuana is so much higher than in tobacco.
The end
It's-
result,
It's going to have health results, so I struggle with it from that aspect, not only from the, obviously the accidents and stuff like that, but also from, I've seen the results or seen the statistics that when this is passed, typically your petty crime goes down because people aren't
Motivated?
right. But
Well, it's already been passed.
It's true.
So really, it's whether or not
You
we're gonna
responded
allow the
quickly.
sales in
Right,
town.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I did respond.
And so,
the
let me
merits
give
of
you,
marijuana use are.
But, I mean, it
wow.
is.
It's just whether or not
It's whether or
you
not we wanna
deal with
allow
it.
I don't think
And
we need
then
to
allow it
opt
to be
out, we need to
sold.
leave our options
Okay.
open.
so then the options after we choose not to opt out is we need to find a home for it within zoning. And so the board needs to decide what type of zoning area they would be interested in putting it in for sale. And, David and Deanne have recommended we do a special use regardless of what district you guys decide, so we'll always come before the board, in planning and zoning and then the board. But you guys have to decide what areas of town or what districts you would be interested in seeing it in. So whether you wanna see it in the C2 retail, commercial along 72, whether you wanna see it in Old Town District, which is the downtown area, or the center town here, the original town district, whether you're interested in seeing it out, allowing it out in the Jeremiah Heritage lots, whether you're interested in only being an industrial, only being an ag, you guys have to decide what district you want to see it in.
Are they gonna prohibit that from being like next to churches and daycares? Is that something?
There are some prohibitions in the statute already, but that won't really that will affect the application when it gets to that point, but it won't affect what district we want to allow it in.
I'd just say in the commercial. I don't know
In the
about the.
commercial retail? Because technically, the original town district here is called C1 because it's a combo of residential and commercial. But you're
Okay.
interested like out on the commercial retail side, like C2 districts.
I'm not opposed to that, but, I mean, you gotta leave it open to the, it could spur development in the heritage over here too.
Which I believe might also be C2 out there.
As I said, I'm open to it on both ends and,
And-
yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, I think that might be original sound.
That generates sales tax revenue or no?
Well, hold on, we're getting to that.
Oh.
Jumping the gun there.
I don't remember how we get paid. 'Cause if it
Uh,
doesn't generate sales tax revenue, how would we be paid?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second. So zoning districts,
Take your time.
C1, C2s, commercial areas,
Commercial business would be fine.
commercial business.
I'm still on the opt-out, so, I'm gonna have to go with the general consensus of the board on that one,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'll ask Dan to prepare it
Okay.
in the commercial C1, C2 areas, and then we can always change it up a little bit as we see fit. As I said, regardless of what we do, he is gonna put it as a special use. They will always have to come before this board. So licensing, David has suggested that we license it similar to our video gaming licenses or liquor licenses or those types of things. Again, just another protocol for them to come in here. David did mention that, there is no way, like in liquor license, we get dram shop insurance, there is not weed insurance. So we're gonna,
It's just what it is,
Sure.
yeah,
yeah, so we're gonna have a,
Federally, it's not even legal, so they can't.
yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
so we're gonna have to figure that out, but I'm sure a lot of other municipalities are. And there is I'm not saying they're coming, but we need to
Sure.
have our zoning
For sure.
prepared. And then, the last thing on here actually is the sales tax, and so then you have to decide, do you want to tax it? Because if you do, we have to pass a ordinance taxing it.
Well, what would be the,
Do we
yes,
tax
I would think
liquor?
you,
I believe it's,
Yeah.
3%, and you
And we
can't
tax
increase it by more than a
tobacco, right?
quarter.
Tobacco, liquor,
The state
Yeah.
taxes those, we don't. So this is a municipality tax on top, so it's similar more to a telecom tax, because you're paying that on your, well,
yeah, 'cause we have a tax on our cell bill, yeah.
yeah, and that comes to the village, and so it's similar to that, so this is a tax that comes to the
But
village.
the village could have their own tax on food and beverage above and beyond.
They
Yeah.
could, we just
whatever the
don't.
sales
We just
tax
don't have
is.
it.
I think we should make revenue from it, so.
Yeah, because I think
we
it's
should
one,
The state's tax.
I agree with
Otherwise,
you
what
on
would be,
that.
otherwise, why
Yeah.
do it then? I mean,
I think you, yeah,
As of yesterday, the state's taxing us quite enough.
yeah,
Kelps.
there.
You can.
we don't have your money, Chris, we
Recreationally,
can't pay all
I
this.
think they're a home rule.
You got deep pockets. What are you
Anyway,
talking
so
about?
any interest in the sales tax, I mean, that
I would
was,
be.
Yes, sales
I would
tax,
be.
yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
all right, I'll have them work on that as well then. I think that covers all aspects of marijuana for now.
My only other question is, can they sell things in their shops that are not related to marijuana that would be a taxable item, say Cheeto Puffs? Or, I'm serious, Munchies?
Or
I mean,
paraphernalia.
Paraphernalia, because that would be a taxable item, that wouldn't be can the
Tobacco
two
use
exist
only.
in the same?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
It's
if you're gonna have a
sales tax item.
marijuana shop,
Okay.
you're gonna have paraphernalia in there.
So marijuana still,
Like the
my
beehive.
understanding of this, John, is that marijuana's still gonna have an Illinois sales tax. They're offering municipalities the chance to also put a tax
No,
on
well, I
it,
think we
so
should.
that regardless of what else they're selling in there, the state's still getting their cut.
There should be some rules about
Always.
where you can. Just out of curiosity, does the state, ban them from selling marijuana within alcoholic establishments?
I don't know.
That's
Well,
what we talked
A lot
about.
of questions is, can you smoke that outside like you do a cigarette?
After January 1st?
So you'll be able to smoke one in the park?
No.
No.
There are
You-
restrictions.
I tell you
on
what.
where it can be.
There are
I
restrictions.
think we-
just coming back from California last week, it was rampant.
Yeah.
It reeked.
On the train?
No, outside.
Of the whole state? No?
Everywhere we went, you could smell it.
Just like Jamaica.
Yeah, here, John.
Of course, we were in LA and San Francisco, so I mean,
Personal
above the
cannabis-
human feces, it was pretty good.
Oh, man.
Personal cannabis will be allowed in most private residences, but not in prohibited areas, including any public place or in close physical proximity to any underage person. You can also have 5 of
Okay.
your own plants.
5? You said 15.
I thought it was.
5.
5 if you
5.
prescribe.
And 30
Can you buy
grams of
plants?
cannabis.
Will you be able to buy the plants at the shop?
I
You
don't
buy
know.
plants, you gotta grow it.
Blowing my mind.
Oh,
I just,
I think
Yeah.
John's going into business.
I just,
Just think, if Chicago didn't need all this
I
help, we
just
wouldn't be
can't
doing it.
believe it. I'm,
I was at the
Yeah.
Hoolit.
All right, are we done with marijuana?
I think for now we are. I will get Dan and David working on the direction, and then we can always, modify things as we see fit later.
Oh, wait, there was something I wanted to ask. Oh, shoot.
This is gonna be one of those things we'll have to write after a long.
Oh, and,
Oh, can I ask, and we talked about it, like, I think briefly or whatever earlier, but I wanna, so, we do drug testing, correct?
yes,
Okay, so, I'm just curious with regards to that.
so, I forgot, you weren't here last week.
Sorry.
I did mention, Margaret has been working with Brenda, Margaret being the employment attorney, is working with Brenda on making sure that our handbook is up to date. However, there is an area of grayness right now, because you won't be allowed to come to work high. But if you smoked the night before and then came to work, you're not high, but it's still in your system.
Nevada's doing something
So
like that right
it's
now.
it's very difficult at the moment, which is why I think,
It is, 'cause I mean, considering there's machinery and heavy equipment involved.
there is, but you're not impaired necessarily either,
Okay.
but because of the length of time it stays in your system, you still test positive.
They'd be the ones driving slower.
And so it's, and so it's very,
It's interesting.
it is.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting
Yeah.
what they come with
It's gonna
this.
be very
I did preview, some of the classes coming up at the IML conference, and there are quite a few on this, so
Okay.
people should attend those as they can,
Definitely.
Awesome.
so,
Thank you.
Maybe they'll figure it out by the time it takes effect.
that's the fear. That's actually why most
Oh.
law enforcement had concern about it, was because there's not a way to test for it right now, to test your level of impairment, it's either yes or no,
Right.
so.
Okay.
Well,
That means
your
automatically you're impaired.
your level of impairment, or that you have
The
to.
saturation
That
in
you
your
have
system from it that would
THC,
tell,
and so it
tell when
doesn't
you
mean
smoke.
that you're impaired,
Right.
it means that maybe 30 days ago you smoked,
That could be.
and so it's,
That's just how they're
That's-
gonna make more money, they can just keep arresting people.
They'll improve the test, I would assume, just so they can tell.
well,
They'd have to.
we have to figure out what other states,
Yeah. What's Colorado doing? That's,
For,
Nothing.
for us,
They have the
for
same
villages, as
Oh,
an
they do.
employer, it'd be more about whether or not they appear to be under the influence,
Yeah.
and a supervisor
Mhm.
noticed it, and then
yeah.
called them out, as opposed to whether or not they
Yeah.
smoked a week before or something.
Well, so, when they notice it, our gut reaction now is you just send them for a drug test.
I understand.
But sending them for the drug test isn't the fail-safe anymore, so Margaret will have to retrain us all
That'd be
in what
fun.
it is we're supposed to be looking for and paying attention for.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't care about that stuff.
they'll just be sniffing everything.
Annual fee ordinance.
Do
you have any questions?
I do have questions. I just gotta get to the part that I had a question about. Sorry. And again, I cannot thank you enough for the color changes, by the way, Sandy.
Oh, thank you.
So on the section that was talking about the retail sale or dispensing of alcohol, liquor and whatnot,
Page 5, oh, that one right there? Dina?
yes,
Okay.
thank you, I'm sorry.
No, that's good, I just wanna make sure I was in the right section.
So I don't have any issue with the event and the temporary retail sale. I don't have any issue with any of that stuff. My question was, before we say, you know, down the road here next week, voting on it and saying, hey, yes, I'm fine with all this, do we have a plan, or do we have, if, like, say the event is in the park and then we issue a permit for that, do we have a plan that says, okay, the person that was issued the permit is responsible for cleanup? Or if there's an issue with, do we have like, if there's too much, it's automatically just, you know, call the police if there's too much drinking and gets rough, you know, whatever. Do we have something that says what the repercussions are if the person that gets this, permit, thank you, my God, what happens thereafter?
They'll never get another liquor license?
And that's the only consequence kind of thing as far as
Let's
like,
say it's
I mean,
SC2, can
do we have any way, like, you know, like with, because I mean, I just,
Like,
I imagine all the places that I've been, that, like,
security.
when you leave and how it looks when
So
people
let-
leave, I don't want to.
Let's use this as an example, SE2.
That's a different ballgame. So the first
Okay.
thing that you're asking about
Mm.
would be actually a special use permit within the park, which
Mhm.
is alcohol aside,
Okay,
that is in there, they are required to clean up. They're,
so they would still have to get
But-
that in addition to?
Yes.
The question is,
yes.
if we issue them an SE2 and they come in the park, now it gives them up to 10 events in a year period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's say their second event, they don't clean up, they don't
Yeah.
do anything, do we have language to yank it?
I believe we do, it with you as liquor commissioner pulling their license.
I can do
Because
that.
it says that,
Okay.
it does say on
I just
all
wanna make sure
liquor-
we're legally
yeah,
allowed to do
It does
it.
say on all liquor licenses that they have to comply with our ordinances and our rules and regulations, and so if they are leaving it trashed, that's clearly
Because
not
I just, my
compliant.
concern is as we look at like this beautiful park, or
Yeah.
either one of them, and all the work people put into it,
Two
then,
of them shaking their heads.
Yeah. But, and so, the special use permit, though, that underlies any permit in the park covers all of that.
okay,
Yeah.
that's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
That's, because I was concerned about what we do other than just giving them the permit
Yeah,
to
because we have
sell
that,
it.
we have that for everybody who's coming into the park.
So they wouldn't only have to just get the retail sale permit, they'd have to get the special,
If they're
okay,
using in the park,
all
yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah. It's a multifaceted,
Well, I just think of everywhere, you know, even whether just on the corner there or wherever they had their event,
yeah.
what it's gonna look like when they leave. And I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying the majority of the places that I go, that beer garden or otherwise,
Yeah,
it looks like it looks when you're done.
we do have I hate to call it a banned list, but a list of people that are not welcome back. And so we have had people leave the pavilion in that manner, and so we have an ongoing list
Well,
of non.
Take care of business, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Matt,
Matt,
the door's for you.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
More concerning, is everybody okay with the change that Dan made to the grass?
Is that which,
Next one, sorry,
yeah.
Yeah, that one.
right here.
What's grass?
Oh, the 250
The
for,
mowing,
yeah.
the fine plus our fees.
Oh,
Yes, I am.
not marijuana.
We're not going back to marijuana right now.
Well, I was gonna say the weed.
No, the
Although,
tall
in some of
grass-
these yards, there could be growing it, and we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
The kind we officially mow
So
and charge
he-
for.
Yeah, he made it $250 per offense,
Yes.
Plus the removal
plus
cost.
the removal cost under the statute.
And
Yep.
do we need to specify that that's not removal of the cut grass, it's just cutting the grass?
No,
We're not taking it with us.
I know, no.
I'm
So
totally,
is
want that to
everybody
become, well, you
okay
didn't
with
take
that?
it.
We could,
Yep.
we could back it up.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
I have a question,
Yeah.
sorry. So we looked at, what Casper pricing is and what the other company's pricing is.
Yeah,
Does this cover us for either?
nope. This doesn't cover either one of those.
Oh.
That's more of a policy decision. These are the fees that are listed out in our ordinances.
I understand that, but I'm saying, you said, I've been told in the past at least, that, permits were whatever,
Yeah, the permit fees?
that's what I'm saying. These are, part of these are permit fees, right?
I don't believe, oh, yeah, the building permit fees are in there.
That's
Yep.
what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So,
These-
that's what I'm asking.
Do you have any other changes you want to? We can change it, so
No,
if
no,
we,
I'm not,
if we
that's
choose
not,
to-
I'm sorry, maybe I'm not making myself clear, because I'm just saying that if we switch from one to the other, would we have enough to cover the other?
If we were to do that, I would re-review this section,
Alright,
and that
alright.
we can always, because we
I
can, we are required to update this once a year.
But we can
can't
update it
update it any
additionally.
other time.
All right,
Yeah.
all
If
right,
we choose to go with another company and the fees need to be increased, we can readjust that at that
Alright.
time.
then I don't have an issue, thank you.
Alright. There's no other issues, I'll stick it on the agenda.
Anybody else have any questions?
No, I didn't.
William's not here, so we.
What is the difference between, oh, that must, okay, never mind.
Alright.
I answered
Jump
my own
back to the
question in my
agenda.
head.
that was easy.
Sandy?
Alright, I feel like I've done most talking. So the only thing I have that's not on the agenda, this morning, Kenny and I met with an IT company who can hopefully solve the rest of our issues. Our current IT person has been very, honest with us that he does hardware, not necessarily software, so we found somebody who does software who could help us with the Outlook issues, the router IP issue, the one that you guys are having for your email here in-house. And their cost is below our spending limit, so I'm going to go ahead and hire them to solve these other issues. And I told them that if they are able to solve these issues, that we would, I would come back and talk to you guys about possibly switching to them, but I asked them if we could please just get these issues solved first and quickly. So, they do sell their time in blocks though, as opposed to hourly, and the blocks never expire, so I'm gonna buy 6 hours, which is their minimum block. And we'll see if that solves that. But that's all I have, and that's just more of a FYI, 'cause I don't, just so you guys are aware that hopefully when you come in at some point in the next couple of weeks, things will magically work.
Cool.
Brenda?
I don't really have anything. It's the end of the quarter, end of the month. That's what I'm working on. Auditor will be here in August. They called me. They'll be here in August.
You know, when?
Yeah, I have the date. Okay.
Do I have to be here?
I don't know.
Okay. If you give me dates, so I can make sure I'm here.
They'll give me lists of things too. I'm sure.
All right.
Hopefully we'll have everything ready before they get here.
All right.
That's all I'm really working on.
All right.
On to Matt.
Page 1, Junction Road and the Harvest Glen Plat, 10th Street maintenance. Rick just actually signed the final pay request, so, that will be closed out and we'll get that removed for next month. Plat 10 Phase 1, that one is close. All punch list work is completed, except for they have some topsoil grading and seeding along the, concrete curb and gutter behind the houses on Prairie Moon. So hopefully, keep getting a little dry weather, they'll get that completed, and that'll be ready to close out next month as well. The Harvest Glen Plat 10 Phase 2, contractors working on the ditch between Prairie Lily and Frosty Morning. I was out there, it looks like they've got all the way out, prepped at least all the way out to the farm field there, so. No update on the microsurfacing. Seal coat project, we know Civil Constructors is starting to work on seal coat projects in Ogle County, so they're gonna be making their rounds in Ogle County now, so Corey thought here in the next couple of weeks they could be coming, to town to take care of the seal coat. Brian, got all the sump pump drain line construction completed, just has to finish the landscape work on that, and that project will get closed out. The water main work, to the maintenance building, and then on Autumn Wolf, all that's been installed, but the contractor still needs to do some testing there, and it looked like they had gotten the seeding work done on the Autumn Wolf portion when I drove by tonight. Nothing on the sidewalks, nothing on the pond, water and sewer rate study. Dina and Brett and I, we just met before the meeting to kind of review that report from 2017, so, that'll probably come up here later in the year. The water treatment plant converting gas chlorination to liquid, we did get the construction permit for that on June 19th from the EPA, and Brett's contacted the equipment supplier to have them get scheduled to get that equipment installed, so, and that will also include the fluoride as well. See, nothing on the 251 going north, 251 water main going south to Scandia. All the tree trimming has been completed. The boring work got finished on Saturday morning, and then Stenstrom has started on Friday putting in the water main. They also have the water main through the casing pipe, and the hydrant's been set on the west side of the road there, so they're going to just be continually moving to the south. We did get the quarterly reports. There was two one quarterly, and then there's, I don't know why they did it, but there's one just for June that we had to submit. We got that in with the disbursement request. We know that they received it. They're in processing, but they did want, since Rick was gone, they wanted to have Rick's signatures on the forms, which we have. So we'll get those down to them tomorrow.
Is it possible to get an additional signer on the DCO grant?
I'll have to check.
Because 2 or 3 times a year, Rick's out of town.
Yeah.
The exact day he needs.
I'll see if we, like with the EPA, with their loan program, they just designate they don't designate necessarily a person, just, village president or city manager, and then if that person changes, or in this case, Rick's out of town, and you have whoever's his replacement while he's out of town, they can sign. so.
That's what we did.
They didn't like that.
And they didn't like that. Yeah, 'cause we had Williams signed in Rick's absence.
Yeah.
And with,
But EPA's okay with it, I'll have to check with DCO to see if they're okay.
or find out if there's something we can do to get a second signature
Could
on
you guys
there.
invest in like, there's like an app online where you can do a digital signature where you can actually email it to him and he can digitally sign it and then get it back to you?
Yeah, but,
Did you do that?
so, I believe last year, he was in a location that had no cell service.
Oh,
That's why,
Yeah.
so the timing of it, either he's out of town or I'm out of
no
town.
traveling for
And
Rick.
we actually,
I wasn't Canadian.
I was thinking, Rick or I don't
But that-
travel that much, but these DCO grant reports.
Good point, 'cause that would work, 'cause they don't need original signatures on what we spend, and everything is,
Have it after.
everything's just scanned and emailed to them, so if it's a digital signature.
It'd be nice to get
Well,
more grants, but
yeah,
this will be
because
the
Yeah.
end of
you
this one.
You just need
that
a
out.
stamp in your signature.
Yeah. Anyway, just something I thought of.
Okay,
Spell trouble.
we'll check. And the last item, Verizon Wireless, Dan had sent me to inspect the following work for Verizon: the landscaping, confirm all the trees we're planting in accordance with the plans, the shelter. Basically, Verizon's contractor has removed the, metal roof, which will eliminate noise caused by water hitting the roof, and the antennas. Verizon's contractor replaced the snap-ins and, down tilt brackets on the water tank. Need to confirm that, this corrected the whistling noise. I did stop out there before my meeting with, Dean this afternoon, and all the trees are in. Actually, on the one side, we ended up with a couple extra than what they had planned on the plans. The metal roof is off, but, I thought on the last one that they were gonna try to lower the equipment, so nothing would be visible, at least my understanding, would be visible above the fence, and we still have equipment above the fence.
My understanding
So-
was also the same, that there would be no equipment visible above the fence.
And it wasn't real windy out there, so I'll defer to Sandy.
After the meeting, I'll share my video with you.
Okay, if you,
Call our resident.
yeah, if you have a video, send it to me, and then I'll get that forwarded on to Dan as well as my other comments, so,
Dan heard it.
okay.
I already made him.
I didn't notice it when I was out there today, but there wasn't a lot of breeze today,
Shocking, I know, isn't it?
yeah. Just heat,
It's hot, that's why there's no.
yeah.
Well, Rick and William unfortunately get my text every time it whistles.
Hey, Matt.
And you should
Yes.
forward it to him.
Have you or Mike or anybody, have you guys received the results from the back tees?
I have not,
I'll talk to Mike tomorrow
Yep,
then, see
yep.
if he's got a result on it.
yep. As soon as you get them, though, we'll get the operating permit submitted, so.
Yep.
Get it worked up,
Okay, perfect.
Anything further?
that's it.
All right, we'll move on to committees. Community development and events.
So on Saturday, I went to Belvedere and attended their Paint on State, which is an event that they have for their Heritage Days. And, this Paint on State is where they put squares on, they close off their State Street from Lincoln Avenue, I think, all the way down to where it Y's. And, that event is not the whole thing, because they also had a car show going on, but they, paint off 4x4 squares. Do you have my photos, Rick? They take these bigger squares and divide them up into 4 smaller squares, and each square is $5 that
Yep.
people can register online and prepay for them, and then each, in the corner of those squares up there, they are identified by a number or whatever, and, so when people come register, they're assigned a square. So they go to that square because they pay for it that way. They know that this is the person who was assigned the square and they should be only painting here. And they had this all the way down. And then they give, everybody for the $5, they get their square, they get a bag, a supply bag with 4 primary colors in it and like the little 4-ounce sauce, take-home cups. And they get 2 brushes and mixing trays.
Let me know, you know, switch.
And then there should be another photo. Then they do a paint station.
Hold on, if you go to the next one, you can see.
Yep,
the
yep,
stuff.
there are the cups that they get their colors in. And then they have the trays where they can mix colors. And then
Yeah.
they have a refill station where they have the big old jugs of the pump paint. And all of this paint is the temper paint that
Oh, there's-
schools use, so when it rains, it washes away. But, so I was wanting to bring an event to our community, and I was originally thinking chalk. After talking with Lauren, the woman who does a lot of this organization, she said that the paint is way cheaper than chalk. She said that they do it by the time they're done, but obviously they have arts and literacy council, so those are the bags that people get. And they are already pre-packed by volunteers prior to, and then they have labels that they stick on them, and it's the label that has the number on it, so that label matches the numbers, that code that's written in the square, so people know exactly where they're going. There's the squares with, and, and that's a wash station that they ran. Obviously, they have water under the road, and they ran a big old hose up, connected it and stuff, so they can rinse out their brushes and stuff like that. They get like a 1-inch brush and a 2-inch brush were the two sizes that they had received in their bags. All different ages were there. You had kids spending 5 minutes slathering it all over their square, putting handprints, feed prints, walking away and be done. Then you had people taking hours and literally making, a masterpiece.
So where would we do this?
That is my thing. So I was thinking, because I had talked to her, I said, obviously, what they do in that space is 1,008 squares.
Okay.
They had 20 available on Saturday morning, and I was there at 9 o'clock when they started, and they were gone in 30 minutes. They can come and pay cash $5.
That
Well,
day?
those, yeah. But most of them all register online. That was my thing was, we could, if we did it, we could block off out either, I wouldn't say out here, but down here, that part in front of the shelter of the street. But then I thought, we have sidewalks right here, and for a first year, if we wanted to just section off sidewalk squares or go around the walking path, and we could call it paint in the park.
Like that.
I'm just gonna dig this
I just-
up around the path.
I think the concrete would probably be better, 'cause the asphalt,
Right.
I just don't know that the paint's gonna.
Show.
I was just trying to think of somewhere we had big areas of concrete.
Well, I was just
would
thinking
be
of our big
brilliant.
sidewalk.
How wide's
down
the sidewalk out here? On the other side of the street?
That's asphalt.
3,
No, the sidewalk, right across the street, the sidewalk
That's
that runs
asphalt.
above.
That's a path.
yeah, that's path
Oh, is
still
it?
there.
Yeah.
have a lot of
Yeah, the sidewalk is here in front of Village Hall or
Check.
down on Park Street.
Well, that's
Or
what I was
further
thinking,
down,
and
like,
with
Virginia
talking with
Park.
her, she's like, she goes, she's like, we've started events where in one town, she's like, they did 150. She goes, the first year, and only sold 65. 'Cause I said, well, what if I started with like 50? I said, we're a community of like 2,400. Obviously, it's not just stuck to our community, because we have 2 other small communities bordering us. She's like, that would be great. When I asked her about budget, and she was kind of like, she goes, we have the Arts Council of Boone County, so they and they buy their supplies in bulk. So, I could probably, now that the event's done, get more information from her, but, because it was hard, because she was working also with it.
So how many squares did they have again?
They had
Oh.
1,008.
We go to the last screen, she sent that one.
Yeah, so I took this for Dina and I. The people bought now, if you bought that whole square is $20,
This
but
part
there were.
Dina?
Well, no, I was just, literally, when I first took it.
What are you implying?
Until I went back and looked at it, I didn't see the wine glass. All I saw was the book.
You forget, it's my wife that helps you drink it.
But.
Wine looks almost gone too.
But there was about 4 or 5 people, see there, they did some of the
So they did it
pictures.
together, that's kind of cool.
Some do it together, there was another square, but that was their trash. Like, they had those all over, and an idea I had thinking was if the landfill,
Those are tote cages.
right, would help with,
What are they?
You put a 300-gallon plastic tote inside there.
And what is that
There's a-
for?
it was their garbage, their dispensing of all the
Gotcha.
stuff. They
Okay.
had a
And
bunch of them.
they're actual, you know what, Gaylord totes are? Those, just Gaylord liners.
We could probably get dumpsters from
Well, I just didn't know if we,
Those rollable.
if we asked, that was another thing, since they had,
Oh
I mean,
my
this is
gosh.
yeah, this is what, a photo I took of, at the top of the street.
Oh, and then the next
The last one.
one. Dun, dun, dun.
Boom.
Morrison
Oh
Elementary.
my God.
Of their street. I didn't do this, this
Oh, I
was,
was like,
yeah.
no, I didn't do this, but I,
That is cool.
That's a lot.
Is our, like, bike path concrete?
no, it's, that's
It's all that.
That looks asphalt though.
That looks awesome.
That's really on their street, yeah. I mean.
Talk about community,
But-
that's awesome.
Morrison does the same thing.
Yeah,
They do a
there's-
painted town.
There's a bunch of different communities
Yeah.
that I've looked at. I mean, there are some that do chalk, but when I told her that I'm like, oh, it'd be just great to start out with chalk. And after our discussion, she's like, anybody can go get chalk and draw on their driveway, you know. Then I told her how, oh, I thought, just doing it to bring the community together and not charging. And then she's like, if you don't charge right away, she goes, and then you start,
It's worse.
then it's gonna make it worse.
Well, and I mean, $5 for, I mean, it
Right.
takes care of the paint and
Right,
just.
right,
the
and she
supplies.
said their
I mean,
cost is about $350 per bag, is what they end up doing. Now, with doing this, and I was trying to think of, like, what they had is, people could come and paint for anywhere from 9 AM to 1 PM, was their time frame. And obviously, you do it early in the morning, 'cause if it's hot, and they're told to bring, like chairs or blankets or whatever to sit on, if the asphalt, obviously if the road is hot, which we know it was. Do we do this in conjunction with another event? Or do we do it on its own? I have thrown around if we wanna do it once football, soccer, obviously, we're with Saturdays in the fall, after school starts, we're kind of jam-packed. Then I thought about, what if it was done with another event that we may have coming?
I think it gives a little more opportunity to get involvement if you have another event, because somebody might,
Right.
they didn't hear
It's-
about it,
it's
say, hey,
another-
let's go check this out, because
Right.
this isn't what we thought it was.
Right, that's, and my intention was to try to do it with one of the movies in the park beforehand.
I was just thinking that, but the last one's on a
But
Friday.
that August movie's always kind of
Well, and it's on
lame,
And it's on a
Turnout.
Friday,
turnout-wise. It's,
because they only had a few dates available.
no, I'm just saying, normally the
Right.
last one is always a low,
Right.
has been a low turnout.
So, that's kind of where I'm at now. And then Jess was doing a PowerPoint for tomorrow night for the movie. And we were kind of at, right now, since we didn't have a date set, at a save the date or a future event. So I guess I'm kind of looking at, if we do this in September, if we try to fit it in August, or if it's just something we wait on and completely pull out next year. I was even thinking a farmer's market.
What if you did it on the, like, I mean, I know it doesn't help now, but what if you, like, on the, whatever grand opening day is the farmer's market, what if you did it that morning of?
Yeah, that's
Or
next.
throw it in with Kite Day.
No, I don't mean like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
year, I
you
mean
mean
like
next
next
year?
year. Like, 'cause that would be a good way to get people at the farmer's market.
Right,
on
see,
the-
and that's what I originally had talked with Aslan beforehand, thinking, oh, this would be great if, with doing chalk and bringing it and seeing how it starts, to see if it grasps on. But then when you're talking chalk, all kids like to sit down and do chalk, so it's really not a
If,
thing.
I hate to go a little out of the box here, but what if you did do it in September, and then we, probably end up being me, volunteer and go to the farmer's market with a booth that advertises it and give them a little piece of
Right.
chalk to go and sell the paint in the park, and to have them register there,
Right.
or, and, maybe give them a little piece of chalk and say,
Right.
go paint over there for now, and
Right.
then, yeah,
I mean, that's,
it's an option.
hey, Kenny, I see you got the mic.
Now, we were talking back here that I think we need to possibly go out and take measurements somewhere, and see how much we can fit, where obviously Lincoln Street's huge, we can put a zillion of them out there, but we gotta worry about traffic.
Yeah.
The only other concern I have right now is, the football schedule's fine, flag football schedule's fine. I don't know soccer as of yet. I know they're only home twice this year.
Well, usually, I think
For
usually
some
they
reason.
are too.
The only concern would be is if, we did schedule it on a Sunday and soccer, flag football, junior tackle gets rained out on Saturday, which is rare, but then they make up on Sunday, and then we have a giant ordeal on our hands. with
What
that,
time is the
but
movie on that Friday?
It'll be at
Dusk.
So we're looking 8, 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could start this thing really you could start one at like 4 o'clock till movie time.
You could give them squares to paint and then,
Right.
see how it goes and do it as a separate event.
Or noon to,
Yeah, the only problem, well, is that weekend, I'm out of state for a family wedding.
What about the street by Parkview?
Probably wanna be there.
Yeah, I definitely want to be there.
What about the
Ah,
street
just
on
an idea.
Parkview?
what's that?
The street
What about
out here by
Parkview?
Parkview?
You mean Parkview West,
Yeah,
this side?
On the streets out here, yeah, that could be done too, but
because
it's,
there's two
Easy enough to
entrances,
block
and there's
off.
just one
well,
out
it is, but
there.
I mean, like, when I'm thinking about this, I was, for the first year, and I don't wanna take parking away from anything to do with the football, just because we know that is such, we need every little bit we can get.
That's why we have 3 Village Hall tow signs out front.
I know, but still, I don't wanna,
No, but that's why.
Right.
Parking is horrific during football. I kinda like your idea of just blocking off that one section, that one block of Lincoln between Park and,
between the stop
Park
signs and the dollar.
is that Mabel? Park and
Moody.
Moody.
The next concern is the micro surface. So depending on, actually, I'll let Fergie talk to you about micro surface.
So I'm sorry. Yeah, depending on so we've had 2 different microsurface projects. One ended up with a nice, basically, we'll call it relatively smooth. The other still, to this day, we still get the little, I don't know what you want to call them, little BBs, whatever you want to call it, the slag. And it is extremely, extremely aggressive. It's not smooth asphalt.
Can you tell them we'll be painting and we need it smooth?
It doesn't work that way. You're gonna get what you get. So just keep that in the back of your mind. It is not an asphalt
I-
street anymore, so,
Well, then my second thought
It's
was just
kinda
the
rough.
black, the parking lot over here too.
How many can you fit in the basketball courts?
Oh, those are being
A lot.
Yeah, those are being redone too.
We don't wanna repaint them.
Right,
I mean,
a lot, I mean, the court's 100 by 100, I believe. I'm not
what you see.
Yeah, but you
mistaken,
gotta
so,
get people, do you know how big those squares were?
They're,
4x4.
they were 4x4 and then they split them down and they're like
2 by 2?
I mean, we'll brainstorm it.
I mean,
I think it's a
if
great
this
idea,
is-
people
like I said,
love it.
this is just an
We need
idea
to find a
and
spot.
we
Well,
can,
It'd be wonderful to use like the parking lot over the 10-acre park, but then you have no parking.
right.
Right, unless we can direct people, to Sunny Hill, but we don't even
Again,
have
if
enough
we could
there.
test it on, like, the bike paths to see how well it, if we get some of the paint, put it on there, we know we've got enough rain to try it, to see how well it washes off. You might be able to do it in the 10-acre park along that bike path.
Right, and we have the water wagon, we can always take with the 2-inch pump and,
Right.
and hose it off.
Do they
We
wash
gotta
that
stop
off?
fixing things.
What?
They go back and wash that off?
No, well, it stays there till it rains.
Till
It's
Mother
ju-
Nature
It's
solves
just
it.
like the temper paint that we use at school with the kids with projects.
That makes sense, let Mother Nature wash it
Mhm.
away.
But, yeah, so,
Okay, so this would be really cool, if you're just talking about what you could give away at the,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I gotta find one that's less expensive, but it's like a little palette of paint, and you put your advertising thing that says Paint in the Park on it, so when you give it away, it reminds them of when it
right,
is.
it's like the
Kinda
kids
cool.
having their little desk in their
Yeah,
box
if we
at
can
school.
come up with a date that coincides, I'm happy to go sit at the
I would-
farmer's
I would do it
market
too.
when it's not raining.
Good luck.
You know, and like, so, since this event was obviously part of their Heritage Days, they also had a band on the street playing music with speakers, which was cool. They had food vendors and other small vendors, and I originally, the first thing I thought of when I was there, and I started to have pictures, was farmer's market. Because people could go, obviously, it's not fair, because they also had Dairy Ripple right there, which had like 100 people in line.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was to drink. But they had, their food vendors, they were grilling pork chop sandwiches. They were just corn on the cob, they were going to town, of like, just of the possibilities that with multiple events going on at once, that this could bring, but.
I don't know
I
that
just-
we could get it together in a month.
Well, I know, and that's why I'm like, the point of trying to get it together in, like 2 months, because I asked her, I said, how many volunteers does this take? And she said that she had like 12, go-getters that she said we got together like 4 hours. She goes 4 times for like 2 hours. She goes, I would just ask them for 2 hours at a time. And she said, we just pumped, just once, she's like, we divvied up the supplies when they came in the bags, pumped the paint into the cups and got everything ready. Because we did that met 4 times for a couple hours at a time. She goes, I just asked them, to give me 2 hours. So, and I was just like, okay, so, and I'm sure I could probably get a lot more information from her, like overall attendance and just money spent, like their budget-wise and things like that with cost and stuff, because that was one of my concerns, was asking. And then I thought, well, if we could get like the landfill to supply something of the garbage nature, and just try to see who would be willing to, because, I'm willing to go ask, Business in Stillman or neighboring, and see if they would be more than welcome to help out and be a sponsor for something.
Yeah.
So, that's what it's, for right now, looking to be.
Sounds fantastic.
And when you sent me that photo this morning, or yesterday, I was like, ooh.
I know, I was like, when I got that from Lauren, I was like, that's cool.
Yes.
And they have a drone now, so.
Oh, I know,
They can
Kenny's
get
got a
ours.
drone.
No, we don't have one.
We're not, we don't have one, that's what we were told.
Right.
Okay, and then tomorrow night, fireworks and movie.
Which movie?
Dogs
Dogs,
Way Home.
Dogs Way Home, Dog's Journey.
Dog.
I can't keep them straight, all those titles.
Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Okay, I haven't either.
I'm usually pretty good about viewing it. My daughter has the book, and I have not gotten to that yet either, so.
Anything further?
Nope, that is it.
Finance is not here?
He asked me to stick this on the agenda just as a follow-up, one, so you guys were aware, and so it's in the minutes. The agreement with Scandia that we approved last week, they did give us the payment on it, so,
Excellent.
the work, I believe Matt had mentioned, is already done.
Right, the
so-
fire hydrant's set, so.
Yeah, so we did, the terms of the agreement are enforced at this time, so.
All right, ordinance enforcement.
Nothing at this time.
Parks?
Kenny and I met today with Susan Novak from Trotter and Associates. They're out of, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin she just came out to take a look around the park and get some, design ideas, and she's gonna come back to us with some design costs for what we're looking to do out there. The basketball goals that came in, they're sitting in the shop. Kenny, do you have anything further?
Yeah, so hopefully next week we'll kind of get a game plan together to start working on getting the nets up. The contract has been sent to the company for the resurfacing of the basketball courts. I know last I talked to them, they were at least a month out, so hopefully sometime in August, we'll have the nets up, everything's done, and they can come out, do the resurfacing. Fireworks, weather, as we know, isn't not cooperated much this year, and it's kind of sketchy tomorrow to begin with, so, guess we'll kind of have to wait and see how the day goes. I know he's gonna need some, lighter rain and no rain for them to set all the equipment up tomorrow.
They
Looks like-
said, at the 6 o'clock news, they said you should be in the clear.
Yeah, a couple times.
What time do they usually start setting up, how far in advance?
About 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes they're out here, so. At that point, I think we still have a 25-30% chance of rain. It looks like 7 o'clock's our clear spell, so hopefully it's light enough they can come set up. So as the day goes on, we'll see how it goes, and I'm always open for any input tomorrow on your thoughts on things as the day progresses a little bit. If for some reason, and which it's not gonna happen, the makeup date would be Friday for the fireworks. It's supposed to rain Thursday and Friday also.
They said Thursday was after
Horse.
fireworks.
Who's they? Who'd you?
The weatherman who's never right
Yeah, he's
said
gonna
that.
be spraying.
Yeah, and then also if it does rain, Fergie's freaking out about parking 'cause the grass over there,
Yeah.
off Lincoln Street, so if it does rain, we might have to keep people, every effort to keep them off that grass
I
out
was
there.
gonna say, you don't encourage parking in that grass, do you? I know last year, I think,
We do, but if
Okay,
it's gonna be a mud pit, and you have
right, you don't want to.
1,000 cars, they're just gonna drive right around them wherever they wanna go, unfortunately, at that point, so we might have our hands full with that, so I'm hoping
What happens?
that everything goes well tomorrow, but hopefully around noon, I'll have a better idea what the weather's gonna do and what he thinks for his setup tomorrow, so.
Can we get some signs made just to say, do not enter, severe tire damage will, even though we don't have anything there?
You're funny.
Oh, we
I
don't
don't
have
see why not.
anything.
I wouldn't mind having a stack of big orange stickers to slap on windows half the time either,
Ooh,
so.
I do have language for that. Dan gave me towing language a long time ago.
But, not saying we have to tow them, but it'd be nice to be able to, sooner or later, there's obviously
No.
habitual offenders, if you wanna call it that, that'd be nice to slap a sticker on a window.
I'm slightly concerned about that corner that they sneak out of, that they just did the project on. Are you gonna block it?
Utility road will also be closed down for the show tomorrow night, due to some of the size
Safety?
borders and the
Safety?
safety distance, yeah, so.
Do we have permission from the airport?
I believe that we're okay.
Kenny, what was the special viewing area for the new trustees?
Your deck?
Your
Somewhere
deck.
way over there,
The 10-acre park?
yeah.
Rochester roof.
That's all I have.
Furthest away possible.
Anything further, Jen?
No.
Or John?
You're spraying tonight for mosquitoes, right?
Yep.
Fergie is? All right.
I
Wait till that hour when they decide to start coming out,
I just posted it on Facebook, so feel
in
free to
case
share.
anybody out there
share
wonders
out.
why they come around the time of night they do,
So more mosquitoes are off?
more mosquitoes die.
We should
That's all I have.
Hmm.
Rick.
put the power blower in.
Parks did the streets.
Fergie,
Street.
Streets,
I thought you wanted to mention the,
Illinois detention ponds.
oh. Who put the,
You asked me to
oh,
put
did
it
I?
on there.
Well, that's it. I forgot about it.
We have
It's just
dimensions.
that I had a,
You asked me last week to put it on there.
I did, I forgot, I'm sorry. I was, taking a look at some of the projects, last Sunday, and one of the residents said that she was sure that the reason why she had so many problems was because of the pond. So this is one of the people's houses that we had the sump pump project, and said she had been out there for more than 12 years, and that when they put in that pond, caused the problems with the water in her area. I don't know if that's true or not, but that pond area still doesn't look like we've done much, and I'm sure they can't do a lot right at the moment because of all the rain.
Well, we're not doing anything.
Not us, I'm saying,
Oh,
we
the
gave them
homeowner?
90 days,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I just wanted you to know what the residents who live close to it, you know, they're within, you know, visual distance
Are these
of
all
the
current
pond.
photos or are these old photos?
Those are old. I marked
Okay.
them as old in the packet.
But they
Okay.
haven't,
Not-
they
I'm
haven't
like,
done
oh,
much.
my fault.
I was out there and they haven't, they've done a little bit. Somebody's working with a wheelbarrow and a shovel.
The homeowner.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna go
But-
smoothly.
Well, and it's, quite frankly, it's rained a lot. I mean, and it's continuing.
And when it's not lately, it's hot.
Right, well, that
Yeah,
too.
too.
That's even worse, so, between the rain and the heat, I'm sure that they can't get a lot done, but, my guess is a wheelbarrow and a shovel is probably not gonna quite make it.
I believe one of the other neighbors has offered their
Backhoe?
backhoe, but they need it dry enough to get in there first.
Well, hopefully, then,
The little loader tractor is all it is.
and maybe-
Something better than a
maybe
wheelbarrow.
when they do actually correct it, it'll alleviate some of the water issues within that portion of the subdivision. Sorry, now it's you, Brett, right?
Did you have those in the board packet, Sandy? I didn't have a chance to go through all of it. Okay.
Pacific Avenue storm.
Yes.
yes,
They
correct.
look like emails, but they are both attached in there.
Yes, these are, the costs from, O'Brien Civil Works and, Martin for the, Pacific Avenue, the storm repair that we discussed a couple of weeks ago. Basically O'Brien was $6,500. That included no asphalt work. And Martin was $4,370. That did include repairing the asphalt. Neither one of these includes doing the concrete, replacing any concrete that we have to cut out in the bottom. So I would either have to get revised pricing, or we just kind of wing that at the end, and repair the concrete when it's done, because we really don't know what we have to cut out yet. So just wanted everybody to be aware, show you that I got prices, let you know what was going on. I think the reason that Martin, that's a pretty decent price, and that's basically because they're in town. They will be doing asphalt work. They will be doing everything. So
That's on the double culvert on the East Pacific.
yes,
Did it sink a little bit more? It looked like it sank a little bit more.
the gravel's probably settled.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably just compacted down with the rain.
Do you need a not to exceed then next week as opposed to a dollar figure if you think there's gonna be some changes?
Well, are we gonna do the concrete, or are they?
Well, like I said, I don't have a price for them. It would either be them, or I've got a couple small concrete projects that I have to do already. I've got some sidewalk stuff. It could be something I just tie in, like, for example, if I get a price from, Dave Wills, we just kind of lump it into several projects that we have. Because otherwise, we possibly might pay a short load price on that. That's just more expensive. So, I don't know. The problem is we don't know what we're going to have until we tear all this apart, because I don't know if the pipe is damaged. So this could all change. It's just, that's unfortunately what happens when you work underground. You don't
I'm
know.
wondering if you're better off with a not to exceed.
I'm on.
So, I mean, I'm fine with it. That's up to you folks if you want to,
Let's do the $4,370 and see what else happens.
Right.
so.
We can always revisit that.
The only other question what I have is if we go over that, is that emergency expenditure? Where do we go with that?
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be an emergency.
So then I have to
That's
go-
why I said if we do the dollar,
Yeah,
the not to
I don't care.
exceed, it gives us some wiggle room. If we don't, do
Well,
the
if there's something wrong with that pipe, it's gonna be a lot more money.
Well, that's the problem,
So-
is if the pipe is damaged, if either the bell or the flare is damaged to a point that it's not gonna work going back together, we're gonna have to purchase a pipe flared in, who knows? And I can tell you right now that size pipe is not gonna be cheap.
So, let's just do what
So-
we have until we find out.
Please
I'm fine with that, whatever you wanna do,
Sounds good.
Maybe.
so.
Board packet for next week then?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like a decision.
I don't know, did they give you a time frame when they could get to it? They seem quite busy.
No, I told them that right now we did the temporary on it, it's not a rush. So
Right.
if we tell them to go ahead, they'll probably fit it in. My guess is possibly more towards the end of their project, simply because then they will have asphalt on site as well, and they can wrap up all that at once. But they're gonna focus mainly on that project out there first, and then we can worry about, because there's basically no traffic on Pacific. I mean, it's non-existent, so.
Lock them in at the price.
That's all I have. Thank you.
When I was at the IML meeting, and this isn't on the agenda or anything, but, they said they were gonna have 2.1 billion, I wanna say, in the DCEO grants.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna look into that at all? If William, wants to develop that piece of property that the, village owns, maybe that would be an option for.
I'm sure he can tell us what we're eligible for, though.
Yeah, the DCO has several programs under its umbrella. The ones we use for most communities is the public infrastructure. The key component there is, theirs is geared to low to moderate income benefit. So a lot of times we're doing income surveys, either community-wide or just a target area if there's a part of the system that we're wanting to address, and it's got to address a public health and safety. And that's what they call a competitive program, so they take applications one time a year. So this year, it's the end of August, I think, is when those applications are due. One that you might want to take a look at if you ever have any is economic development, but economic development isn't commercial. They're looking at industrial manufacturing type of jobs, not not retail-type business funding. So if you do have industrial-type development or manufacturing, that would create
It
jobs.
realize they're chasing all the industrial businesses.
Yeah, I know. But if, if you do, that's a non-competitive program, so they have a pool of money that's available year-round, and you just apply if something comes up. You have an industry coming in, and they're gonna create 50 jobs. I think you can get up to 750,000 is the max. It might be going up more if they've got more money in the pool.
How'd we get the $100,000?
That one was just funneled through DCO. That is actually a state grant and the state appropriation from your local representative, and then what they do is they funnel it through one of the organizations, and they typically have been funneling it through DCO because they're geared towards managing grants, so.
And that grant is old. We've had it for many
No.
years.
Yep.
Yeah, I know, I just thought that if they were gonna have $2.1 billion, there might be some,
Yep.
Type of grant we could apply for that could help with the economic.
And if they put more money into it this year, typically, the public infrastructure one, it's competitive, but they typically only funded about 1 in every 3 grant applications because of the amount of money they had and then, the amount of grant applications. Now, I don't know if last year was just an anomaly or what, but they actually had more money last year than grant requests for funds, so they didn't even use all their money basically last year. So,
That really answered my question. So, are you saying there's no chance to get a grant for infrastructure expansion for water and sewer out to our property that we have?
not unless you have a business in,
Why did they come there? Because he did say something, but it wasn't industrial, it was something else.
unless they've relaxed their standard, they always, with their program, they want to know what the business is that's coming in, the jobs that are being created, because they used, and I don't know if they're changing all their requirements, but, with the economic development, those agreements had clawbacks. So, if the business says, hey, we're gonna create 100 jobs and we're getting, 15,000 per job, and stuff, up to a maximum of 750,000. If you don't create all those, then the state, I think in the last 10 years, they had clawbacks to where they could get their grant money back if they didn't they had overestimated the number of jobs created.
Or industrial type,
Yes.
all right, manufacturing or
Does
whatever.
that DCEO apply to the parks one? Because I saw that there was a grant that just came out for parks too.
Not through DCO, there is through, IDNR, there's a
That's the
couple,
one I just sent to Kenny.
there's a couple different, grant programs for either parks and/or trails.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
No, it's all right.
But-
And that's all,
The
For
same,
money.
well, my
Well,
thing
I
is if
mean-
you're gonna, go ahead.
And no, and they opened that up because they hadn't been doing that, and they opened that up again this year, because the IDNR hadn't been doing it.
right, because I think the IDNR, OSLAD grant, that's totally state-funded, so that's why it went away for a couple of years, they just didn't fund the program. Now, the DCO, that's all federal funded, I don't believe there's any state match in that at all, because HUD's involved in that, so there's just,
Well,
I mean, it's a messy program, I mean, you're just buried in paperwork on those type of grants, but,
but what IML was referring to wasn't a federal program, so maybe that they're
Mm.
thinking about the DCEO,
yep, that would be it, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity.
but for the state of Illinois?
And a lot of
I
that's
don't-
needs-based.
They said, because they,
Yes.
the
Yeah,
state,
that's where we fail, we have too much money. It's
but they
need-based.
said the state was budgeting $45 billion for infrastructure, and part of that was $2.1 billion state. At the meeting, they didn't say federal, so I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, you might wanna just check, everything that we've done with DCO that's all federally funded, unless they've made some changes.
Need-based, it's gonna be
Yep.
based on the level.
Unless the
of your-
state, in this case, the state is putting money into some grant program that basically DCO is going to manage for them. And it's all state money,
Years not down there.
All right,
which may have different rules to it.
I did see something similar come across from IML.
and I can't remember exactly what I'll have to look into it. I thought that it was the same thing, but maybe it isn't. if they have a pool of money, I know their infrastructure improvement, that the bill was for $45 billion
So
dollars
they
for the
did,
state.
so their appropriations ordinance included $2.1 billion to the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for grants to local communities for capital development. That was in our
Yep.
state budget.
Okay. So basically, that's state funds, and they're just gonna funnel it through DCO to manage the funds.
And they put more into the revolving fund, didn't they? The IEPA revolving fund?
They did $428 million to the IEPA for grants to local governments for wastewater and drinking water infrastructure projects, $50 million to the Secretary of State for grants to public libraries for permanent improvements, $736.5 million to IDOT for grants to municipalities for expenses of public infrastructure and transportation improvement projects that are related to economic development. So
Yep.
there's an IDOT grant out there too.
Yep, there's IDOT money out there as well.
I'm just saying, if William really wants to develop that
See if we can get one
parcel,
of those grants.
why, we shouldn't.
Well, we've got that and the other opportunity we're staring at. We could apply, hopefully.
Mhm.
That might help. I need
Well, we
to
can take a look and,
after the meeting.
yep, we can take a look and see where they're funneling the money and what it can be used for and what the conditions are.
Yeah, 'cause that was IML's, news briefing from earlier this week.
I don't wanna lose sight of that other opportunity.
We'll find something for that.
Anything further?
No, that's it for me.
Utilities?
Just to kind of add on to what Matt had said, Brett, Matt, and myself met, today talking about the rate study that we had done on the wastewater treatment water system. And so you guys will be finding out more about that as well, more details. Matt's working on something for us so we can share like a packet with you guys, and we'll get it to Sandy for the board packet 2 weeks out. So it'll be the next
Yeah.
actual, not next week's.
Yeah, or 5 weeks if you wanna put it when, another one when Matt's here.
Come on.
He'll email it to us next week, so like,
Okay, you
it'll
decide.
just, yeah.
You decide if
Okay.
you wanted Matt to be here or
Perfect.
not.
Okay. And, just to kind of give everybody, so what we did tonight is we went through and basically to kind of give everybody an idea, so everybody becomes familiar with it as to the age of, or how the system ages itself out, where you've noticed this year last year we had to pull well 2, and we're still working on that, and the cost involved and all of that. We know we've got the water tower, cost coming down the road as well. So recognizing all of those things and how long something lasts before it has to be repaired or replaced, we need to start being cognizant of that with regards to our rates as well, because we can't constantly be depending on the landfill to take care of sustaining that, so we need to talk about that and continue that
And
conversation.
I'll tell you right now, this is nothing new. I know a lot of the board members are
Some are new, but yeah,
new to when this has come, but
this is not
this
new.
has been being discussed since '07.
So we kind of so we're at a point where we need to stop discussing and we need to start doing.
We can't
And
keep kicking
so-
it down the road.
Right, so, just so you know, like, we'll get that in the packet, so then we'll have a conversation about it in the board meeting, so you guys kind of know what our recommendation would be, and we'll go from there. And that's really all I have.
All right, Rolling Meadows Water, we haven't had anything move on that yet. Mosquito spraying,
I have to talk to you about that, I just haven't had an opportunity to.
we have pictures. No, we got someone else. You dealt with mosquito spraying last week.
Yeah, it's not that,
Are we talking about the meeting?
No, when you actually went and met with them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
yes,
talked
yes,
about-
yes, yes.
Sorry, you weren't here last week.
Yes.
I did talk about that last week, that, Fergie and I, or Brett and I went over there, and we talked about doing another, intergovernmental agreement similar to what we have with Stillman Valley. They have the same attorney as Stillman Valley, and he happened to be there, so I think that they'll be able to help them with that, but
Do we know how many miles of road they have?
No, I don't,
Stillman's only got 6, so I can't assume that they're much greater
Right.
than that.
I didn't mention it.
Okay. Sidewalks, we had nothing new on.
Nope.
We have no public, unless she wants to speak.
No, she looks like she needs to
Sing, we can give you a microphone to sing.
No.
She's like, I'm done.
No,
She's done.
Elena, do you have anything to say?
Nope, not tonight.
Want to sing?
Do you wanna bring up the pictures?
Oh, yes, you did have one more thing that you forgot about. You asked me to put pictures in the packet.
Oh, I do, and I have to tell you guys this. Oh my gosh, this is so good, sorry. I'm sorry, I got so excited, I'm so sorry. I forgot about this, and I'm so embarrassed that I did, but you guys need to know this. And so, if you're out and about, and especially you guys as well, but it would be meaningful even more so coming from anybody here. Rex was over at our, building for our Careers on Wheels Day, and I know, like,
Monroe Center Elementary.
Monroe Center Elementary, yep,
Okay.
and,
I was
or
watching
Monroe
that
Center
video.
Grade School. So he came over, and it was so nice, you guys allowed him to come over, and he spent, like, the afternoon with us. And the amount of education that he did for those kids, they were hanging on his every word, and they were like, well, you can see him sitting there, I mean, and it was hot that day, and they sat there, and they were just asking him a million questions, and he was explaining to them everything about that truck, how it works, why it's so important, why it's important for what we do in our community. And honestly, it was as if he had practiced for it. He did a phenomenal job representing the village and explaining, and then he couldn't have done any better by allowing those kids to hop up in that rig. They were so stoked. I mean, but they were hanging on his every word. He did such a phenomenal job speaking to children and teaching them about why this is so important. I mean, I know a lot of times people kind of overlook and they just assume people that are plowing or they're like, oh, you know, it is a career. And he really spoke well to the idea of it being a career and an investment. And those kids, we could have sat all day and took 327 children through that, in one, out the other side. He had them hanging on his every word. So if you see him, because he is definitely also someone that I think would really see a great deal of value in our letting him know what a great job he did. I can't thank him enough. The kids gave a thank you already, so it may sound like the kids made thank yous for everybody that came, and we had a tremendous turnout, but he did a phenomenal job representing the village. So I thank you guys very much for allowing him to do that.
Do we do gift cards or something to employees or we don't do any programs?
William will throw things at you for saying that.
There is.
Whatever they call those programs.
I don't know that we do anything like that, really.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to start acknowledging people who go above and beyond, you gotta start sometime, you gotta start
Well,
somewhere.
so like, I would disagree with you a little bit on that. So like,
Oh.
We do.
I don't know that you always have to acknowledge people with money and,
No, a thank you
I
sometimes
think-
goes a
Or try
long
work.
way.
Lunches.
We,
Yeah,
well, everybody,
yeah.
A lot of times non-monetary
Uh,
works really well.
Brenda and the supervisors host a lunch every month or so as kind of our thank you to the employees for their hard work, and we order pizza, or maybe one of these days Kenny will make us steaks, and
Hey.
so
well, I would even
we do
do something
stuff
like, you know,
that.
a village hoodie, a gear.
Yeah.
Or when I did
He was
it,
thrilled
I
to
did
go.
All right,
creamer
He was
chicken.
thrilled to go.
He
He loved it.
Give them a slushy, Kenny.
There's actually a blurb also in the rail about it as well.
It was so cool, I loved it.
The Meridian School District has given us permission to reuse those photos, so we were able to put a blurb in our rail as well, to make sure everybody knew that he went out there and did that.
Because he was so nervous, like he said, I don't know if I can talk to the, and he, are you kidding me? Because then we kept on like, come on, we gotta go, because we had stations set up, and he was not done. He was not done, so we just started doing like double time, because he needed more time.
Yeah.
And they were all in, so I was seeing, the village represent themselves in the way that he did was awesome. So, thank you
Good
for
to hear.
letting us do that. Thank you, Sandy.
Anything further from the board members?
Thank Rick. He goes, do you need those photos?
I'm like, yeah, we did have that
I
photo.
have no, she kept telling me, you gotta have the photos for
I
night.
was called by the whole little like pond thing, I got lost in the, yeah.
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that.
John makes a motion to adjourn, Dina seconds, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We're adjourned at 8:28.